Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the first edition of the Diploma for Driver's Education for Women at Al Yamama University. In this series of videos, you are going to learn how to become an excellent driver. Yalla habibi. Okay, so the first rule of driving is always going to be safety. So as you can see, I have here what we call the seat belt. The seat belt goes across your body and you need to buckle it on the left-hand side, just like this. Just a minute. It's really important that your seat belt goes on before you do anything. That's very important because safety always comes first. So the first thing that you should do before you drive is to buckle your seatbelt.
Listen and repeat. Seatbelt.
Okay, so after you have your seatbelt on, the next thing that you want to do is adjust your seat so that you can sit comfortably while driving. In this particular car, the seat adjuster is underneath the driver's seat on the right-hand side. But in other cars, there is an automated button which will move the seat back and forth. So it really depends on the kind of car which you drive. So I'm going to go ahead and I can feel the lever under the seat on the right-hand side. If I push it up, then I'll get really close to the steering wheel, which might be uncomfortable if you're a taller woman. However, if you are a shorter woman, this might be suitable for you. If you are taller, then you can go ahead and push it back to give yourself a really comfortable driving experience. Now, it's really important that you don't want your legs and your feet to be too far away from the gas and the brake. If they're too far, you won't be able to operate the car effectively. But if you're too close, then you also won't be able to operate the car effectively. So it's really important to make sure that you get the perfect adjustment which is suitable for your height and comfort.
Listen and repeat. Adjust your seat.
Okay, so to recap, now that you have put on your seatbelt and adjusted your seat for comfort, we are going to go ahead and turn on the car. Here we have the keys to the car. Some cars have just a simple button that you press, but in this car we have a key. So the key will always go in the ignition. Can you say that? Ignition. The ignition is on the right side of the steering wheel, and in order to turn the car on, you must turn the ignition clockwise. Can you say that? Clockwise, just like this. This is the first step in operating a car.
Listen and repeat. Ignition. Clockwise.
Okay, so now that the car is on and we are ready to drive, I thought it would be a really good idea to go over what is inside of the car from behind the driver's seat. As you can see here we have the gas gauge. F is for full and E is for empty. As you can tell, this car has a full tank of gas. Over here you can see the mileage, or in your case it'll probably be kilometers. Over here we can tell the temperature, which is pretty normal. And over here we can see where you can measure your speed. Now the arrow is on 0 because the car is not moving. But once you start driving, you'll be able to tell how fast you're going. Okay. On this side, we have the windshield wipers. If you need to move them for any reason, they go down and they have different speeds. You can also use your wiper fluid to help you for visibility, which is very helpful and useful during a sandstorm. On this side, you have your lights. As we can take a look here, these are your regular lights, and these are your high beams. High beams are really useful at night. Okay. You also have your turn signal. As you can tell, the arrow is going to your left, which means that you should turn to your left. Here, the arrow is going to your right, so you should turn to your right. Okay, so here we have where you can put in a CD player, or you can even listen to the radio. And over here we have where you can adjust your air conditioning, or you can even put on the heat. You also have for defrost, and you also have your emergency lights, which are very important. If you press this red triangle, you'll notice that both lights come on. And this is usually used in case of an emergency. If you have poor visibility during a sandstorm, or if it's foggy in the morning, you can put on these lights to let people know that you need to drive slower than usual. Then what we have here are the driving gears. As you can see now, the car is in park, but we also have reverse, neutral, and drive. Now, in order to change gears, you must take a look here and put your foot on the brake. This is the brake, and this is the gas. If you want to change gears, you must put your foot on the brake and then put your hand on the gear and turn to whichever gear you need.
Listen and repeat. Turn signal. Hazard lights. Gas pedal. Brake pedal. Driving gears.
Now, before you take off and start driving, it is really, really important that you adjust your mirrors. The mirrors that you will need to adjust are your rear view mirror, which will help you to see the cars behind you, and your side mirrors, which will help you when you have to switch lanes. So for your rear view mirror, you can just take with your hand and adjust as you see fit in a way that is comfortable for you to see the cars and objects behind you. For your side mirrors, your car might have a little knob action like this. Here we have to the front, to the top, to the bottom, the left, and the right. So I'm going to move this to the left, and this will operate my left side mirror. And then if I want to turn it, it will turn in the direction in which I choose. Now, if I want to turn the right mirror, all I need to do is switch it over and adjust it accordingly. Lastly today, I also want to show you the emergency brake. Emergency brakes are really good to use, as you guessed, in case of emergency. All you have to do is press in the button, and pull it back. And you'll see on your dashboard that the emergency brake is on. Now, emergency brakes are good if you're parking on a hill, or if something happens to your regular brakes, if they stop working, you can also use the emergency brake to stop immediately.
Listen and repeat. Emergency brake. Rear view mirror. Side mirror.
Okay, well that concludes this first introduction into driver's education. So what we learned today was what is behind the driver's seat of the car, all of the functions and buttons of the car, and before you know it, you'll be ready to drive. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Masalama!